Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 230 for May 10th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host this week. My co-host, Danny Cooper, is, he's not here.
MIA?
I don't know where it is. If anybody sees it, for God's sake, tell me. I'm sure he's fine. Don't panic, but he's not here. And my other co-host, I seem to be burning through co-hosts at an uncomfortable rate.
Man.
My other co-host, Tony Schaefer, he's working late. I got stuck after school. He's grounded. I'm not sure what. It sounded kind of temporary, but
he's in jail.
He's in. I'm in jail. There we go. So, I'm left here by myself doing the hosting duties. I hope you'll kind of go with me on this. Luckily, I have two of my favorite panelists here to hold up the intelligent end of the bargain, and let's introduce them now. My friend up north with the blue lower third stripe, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
The lower thirds are back. The lower thirds are back. Yes, indeed. And no, I don't want to be a co-host because you seem to be burning them up, and it's already getting hot in here. So no.
It's like Spinal Trap drummers. You could
like,
just explode.
Poof!
Yeah.
Spontaneous combustion.
Nobody wants to sit in that throne. And speaking of sitting on the throne, not at his shop, leaving his work early just to be on the show. No, okay. He had other things to do, but luckily he's checking in with us this week, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Yeah, and I'm, is that yellow or orange?
Yellow and orange.
Something like that, but
Yeah.
I've got the lower third going on too.
It looks good.
I feel special.
Well, Paul, you are special. I'm a sharing is caring kind of guy.
Acid Special Olympics.
Let's not go down that road. I do not need those emails, please. Paul didn't mean that.
No, that's what people say to me.
I got nothing.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, if I touch this, it's gonna backfire on me. So let's go into the news this week because we've got some good news. Car and Driver, one of my favorite must-read. I haven't read Car and Driver since I was 13. Oh. I probably shouldn't have said that either. But anyway, Car and Driver did a review on the Hyundai Ioniq. And this is a vehicle we've been talking about on and off for a few years. Tony and I saw it last year at the New York Auto Show as some kind of prototype, a production. We weren't really sure. It was just there. It didn't move. And there it was. Now they're out on the road. They're there. You can buy them at least some places. And they're starting to get reviews. And interestingly enough, Car and Driver's review, 3 stars out of 5. Not the best review in the world.
60%.
Yeah, not the best review in the world. And interestingly enough, and this is going to be where I'll tell the story and then I'll jump off. It's a very famous story. And I know we've told it on this. Very famous. I'm sorry, hubris. Amongst my friends and I, it's a well-known story of me driving the first generation plug-in Prius at Toyota headquarters, literally in the driveway of Toyota headquarters, heading onto Western Avenue. Completely unintentionally, I managed to kick it out of electric mode and into the gas mode before I left the driveway. This was how should we say it? An engineering choice that Toyota made, and it fell out of EV mode very easily. Oddly enough, Car and Driver had the exact same experience, or a very similar experience, with the Ioniq. To which I just say, first generation vehicles are hard. Even to an experienced car maker like Hyundai, even to an experienced hybrid maker like Hyundai, it's hard to get everything right. And it looks like the Ioniq's kind of stumbling.
Yeah, it's interesting that they chose that path when there's others that have not. But like you said, it's a first generation, to be fair. But I don't like it. I just don't like. I don't like that you've got battery juice and it's not using it. Obviously, they're doing it for a trade-off. But oh man, I
I
couldn't
think
go
it's
back
just-
to do that.
It's just the brand reputation. Like when you say hybrid, you don't think of Hyundai, right? So they've got that battle to fight, regardless of what the plug-in does. So.
Yeah, I mean they've made a good hybrid. It's not as though they've never done it before. They've never made a plug-in, and they've never made a full EV as they have with Ioniq. And I should say, my other big problem with this car was it looks nice from the outside. I should actually let's share and show some pictures. I'm so delighted with the technology that came back. Thanks, Google. Thanks, our friends at Google. So here's the Ioniq. It's not a bad looking car. It's not horribly dorky or silly. It doesn't have anything that just screams, oh my God, I run on electricity sometimes, which is okay. I mean, but I think the problem that I had with it, and I have not seen this version yet, the final made to sell to people version, but I sat inside it and it was a lot like sitting in an 85 XL. I really felt like everything was cheap and flimsy and plastic, and it wasn't that
So
nice.
it's like a 2013 Coda. Is that what you're?
That might be nice. I mean, honestly, is there anything cheaper than an 85 XL? The original $49.95.
2013 Coda.
Yeah.
How about it?
Well, you're still fighting with that code, aren't you, Paul?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, different story.
Different
How
story.
about a 98 Micra?
I don't even, what the hell is that?
They didn't sell the Micra in the US. The Canadian market car.
Oh, I was going to say a Micron.
You never heard of the Micra? I didn't know that. Didn't know you guys didn't have the pleasure
It
of
was
knowing
too
the
small to know
Micra.
in the US. It's too tiny for Americans.
And I'm a good sized American, I mean, let's be realistic about this. I mean, I don't represent the country, but I'm large. So anyway, it just seemed kind of cheap. I don't know.
So car driver take this thing out on the road, and immediately they push it out of EV mode by just hitting the gas pedal.
Right. Now here's where I defend Hyundai and from front of Car and Driver. Car and Driver are legendary like gas sniffers. They love everything Dodge makes. I mean, it's just because it's horsepower and testosterone and gasoline and dirty motor oil and that for them is that's the ultimate success of the motor vehicle. So it doesn't surprise me that they don't like this car or that they kind of were wishy-washy on it. But I do think they bring on a lot of things that just, with Volt, with Prime, this car is too little, way too late.
Yeah, and I've also heard that this is a car that can be three ways, right? It can be a hybrid, it can be a plug-in, and it can also be fully electric.
Yes.
So the same design, the same look, it goes into three packages. You just order what you want. But I have heard that their advertising here, anyways, it has been one of the most efficient cars, regardless. Most efficient is what they're saying.
Right.
And I understand from people that do some testing that the car is definitely efficient if you keep it within the proper bandwidth. If it goes outside of the parameters at all, it's not efficient as much. It's a dramatic change unless you're
A lot of
following
hybrids
the
are like
exact
that. If
program.
you punch it, you're going to get crappier mileage. So,
Right. It certainly is the case. But I mean, I've been told that if it goes outside at all of the parameter, and it's interesting that
I wonder what the real world specs are like. I know with the Prius Prime, better than what they should be getting.
Yes.
Toyota kind of under-promised and over-delivered.
Yep.
Where Ford and Honda and other companies haven't done that in the past. I wonder what the real world specs are coming back from real drivers with this car. And
that kind of stuff should be happening shortly.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, and that will be interesting to see how people are getting. I will say that I think Prius, just because I have a lot of experience there, and with fourth generation and Prime, both of them, you can abuse their systems and still get very, very good performance. Yeah. I mean, which isn't to say you can drive in power mode with a lead foot the whole time, but I mean, you can abuse it and still achieve very, very high MPGs. So it's not like it used to, like the first gen or the second gen Prius, my 2005, if you drove with a heavy foot, you were down in the 30s, and that's just where you were. It didn't matter. You'd have to drive like, I can't even imagine how badly you'd have to drive prime to get that kind of gas mileage.
I do like how modern internet advertising works. I'm looking at the Hyundai Ioniq page on Car and Driver, and there's a Ford Fusion hybrid ad in the corner.
And a C-Max Energy ad that rotate. Yeah.
So Ford's like, when anybody looks at Hyundai, pop up our ad, please.
Yes. Yeah, which is, I mean, that's the internet, right? And odd that it's the Ford, which is the other sort of like, we make this stuff, sure. Yeah. There was
but I mean, the Hyundai has some cool features. I mean, it has the grille shutters, it has a direct injection engine. They've got some cool technology. I guess I haven't driven one, so I can't say how it actually drives, but they've got some nice buzzwords.
There it is, if you want to buy it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
I do agree that interior looks a little chintzy.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart things that they've done.
So they got the price stroked out there on your page, that 23. What does that mean?
I have no idea, but there's no way the plug-in hybrid was anywhere near $23,000. As I recall,
it's like, wow,
well over 30.
Okay,
I want to say, but I'll have to look into this because I don't know. So,
and is the plug-in even shipping, or that's later in the year, right?
The plug-in is going to be this fall. The EV will be next year, and the hybrid is available now.
Right. Okay.
So,
kind of like the Prime.
Yeah, sort of.
There's a few Primes out there.
Yeah, interestingly enough, it's coming now. It'll be here later, and maybe in the future there'll be even more.
Do you work for a PR department?
We work for the Mitsubishi Outlander division.
Let's just say I've been sending press releases to the White House all day.
All day, yes. Yes, indeed.
So that's me. You can thank me for all those victories. Yeah, I have a brain that needs to... No, I'm not going there. Okay. Hey, let's talk about another story. In fact, let's just get me off the mic completely. Mark, why don't you take over?
I have got an interesting story, and I'm glad Paul's on the show because Paul will have a few cents to chime in on this one. But what we've got here is the new Workhorse truck was unveiled recently in sunny California. So I'm just going to fire up a video here. And we'll take a look at it.
I'll stop. There we go, because I had taken over your screen.
Okay, so
there you go. It's all yours.
It's on there? Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll watch the short video of the truck being unveiled and driven around a parking lot a little bit.
Ooh.
So I don't think there's a little audio, yes.
That's definitely
literally unveiling it.
Wow.
Yep.
That really...
What do you think of that front?
Kind of fugly.
It's kind of squarish.
But I'm not a truck guy.
It's really...
It is a full-size pickup. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
And it does say
it's a Workhorse.
Become the first electric pickup, which means they have 450
horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower.
Yep. And 0 to 60 in 5.5 is quite respectable.
Yeah.
And look at that front. Where else would you store your hard hat? Really?
Yeah.
That's brilliant, actually.
It's a purpose-built body and chassis, or is it someone else's just...
I believe it's purpose-built.
Wow.
It exists.
It drives and it exists, yes.
Yeah. I mean,
now the interior, questionable. It's certainly sparse. like orange accents stitching is the big point there. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And a regular bed.
So I don't want to talk too much during the video.
And it starts at $52,500.
Wow.
That's what a lot of pickups cost these days.
Yep.
Yeah. Quite a few. I don't see. Oh yeah, there is a trailer hitch on there. I was like, I don't see a trailer hitch. I have to say the cabins being a little. I don't know what the actual features are, but cabins in new trucks are plush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like
they have
now
all
they
the
are.
toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got everything, and I wonder if that is going to hold that back for something like this. If the
it may. Well, you got to start somewhere. And I think that if they get the truck features correct about, the hauling, this is a dual electric and generated vehicle. So it gets a certain mileage on just EV, and then it does have a motor or a generator to make electricity to keep it going.
80-mile range.
Yep. Which is really good for a first try. Now,
I mean,
the question I got for you,
great.
Paul, is the service, right?
Yeah, if you buy
will service this thing?
Because the company's going to go to business, and then you're going to be stuck with a car that you can't get parts on, you can't get service on, and you're screwed. I mean, if this was sold by Ford or Chevy or Dodge, then I'd say buy it. But honestly, if you're going to buy a vehicle from a small startup company that may or may not be in business next year, you're a fool. We actually called a CODA guy who's got some CODA insight today trying to fix this CODA from hell that won't start. And we said, well, can you send us the scan tool so we can diagnose the car? And he's in California. And he said, I am sorry, there's only one in the world. I have it, and I can't risk shipping it to you because if it gets lost, all the CODA owners will be screwed. So he said, ship the car to me in California.
Oh,
If you buy this truck and they go out of business, you could be in that situation. So, I mean, it's cool on paper today, and I wish them well, but I wouldn't touch it. And, maybe GM will buy them and sell it as a GM product and support it, but it's just too risky, And I've seen it before. There was a company, Azure Dynamics, built a whole bunch of EV step vans a few years ago, and they disappeared, and so did support for their vehicles.
Yeah.
So buyer beware.
Workhorse is apparently partnering with Ryder to be the exclusive maintenance provider for Workhorse's entire light and medium duty range electric vehicle fleet in North America. Will provide a combination of warranty and maintenance services.
Well, if they put it in writing that they'll have spare parts and support for 10 years or the life of the vehicle, then maybe these so-called fleet buyers would consider it. But
fleet buyers may consider it just for the fact that Ryder is the official servicer, would they not? Wouldn't that hold some weight?
Again, if parts,
if they don't supply parts, then they can't do anything. Right.
And the technology to diagnose the car.
Right.
A lot of these proprietary systems break, and what do you do?
Right, exactly. And if you can't get the one part that you need,
right,
you're stuck. It's not a bad looking. I mean, and again, so 80 miles.
And for a contractor that's running around town, fixing houses or going to Home Depot, it might be a great concept.
It would save them a ton of fuel, though, would it not? I think a contractor would certainly benefit from it. And I said, the price point on it, starting at 52 plus, pickup trucks cost that anyways.
Right.
Yeah. And 80 miles of EV range, 310 total miles. I mean, that's not bad in a day. You know what I mean? But
it's too bad it wasn't an offering by Ford or Chevy or Dodge.
Chevy, yeah. God, it's a shame because do those companies even make trucks? Is that why we're not seeing this? They don't make trucks. They don't care. Oh, I'm sorry.
What are you
They're making
saying?
too much profit on the gas trucks.
Yeah, no, because making an electric truck would be so hard for people that make thousands and thousands. Oh, did I even mention the other companies? There's some companies from other countries, quote unquote, that also make trucks, just one or two.
Yeah.
I got nothing else. Mark, you got anything else on work? It's Workhorse is the company.
Workhorse, and it's
Where are they based?
It's an Ohio company.
Well, I wish them well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Absolutely.
a lot easier to build a production vehicle that's reliable.
And
Mark,
I have to say, for looks, it's not bad. It's a truck. It's like I said, it's a little fugly, as Paul put it, but it's not bad for a first shot.
I'll be very interested to see the first of these things, how they hold up. Like the body on this one is carbon fiber, but they're saying that the production model is going to have composite plastic panels with some carbon fiber components. So, I mean, again, Ford kind of caught a lot of hell for going to aluminum.
Yeah.
Right.
In the F-150, a lot of people just lost their freaking mind on that. So, this is plastic, and while it's certainly lighter and going to help make this thing, successful. Yeah.
I mean, the specs aren't bad. I mean, it comes standard with all-wheel drive and independent rear suspension, which you don't see on big American trucks ever. They still have solid rear axles, so that's all cool. It's going to break, and when it breaks, where are you going to get it fixed?
Yeah. And I do love the thing of plugging power tools directly into the truck.
Right.
7.2 kilowatt power export that allows tools to be plugged.
But a lot of the mainstream trucks have that now. They just have to run the gas engine.
Oh, do they? I had no idea.
Yeah.
So they put an inverter and a generator.
Yep. Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. That's been out for a while on contractor trucks, because you're at a job site with no city power. You can run all your power tools off your truck. Which
makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Well, speaking of things that maybe don't make perfect sense, maybe they just make some sense. Our good friend John Volker, and I say good because he may not be my best friend after this. No, I'm not good. I like John a lot. John's a good guy. John, on May 1st, wrote a thing for Green Car Reports, and it was one of these sort of like listicle things that used to be so popular that have luckily faded. And the title is 6 Things to Know About New Hybrid Cars If You Haven't Paid Much Attention Lately. And it's not bad, but a lot of it is just sort of recirculating tropes that were popular in the early 2000s when hybrids were just getting off the ground, and saying, well, this isn't mostly true, kind of, sort of anymore, if you look at it this way. So it's sort of like backhanded. It seems a little cheesy. Like, for instance, dedicated hybrids. Wait, dedicated hybrids? Sorry, what's an undedicated hybrid? It's hybrid or it's
I
not.
think he means like a dedicated model, like a Prius it's not available in a regular car configuration.
I see. Thank you.
Where Camry is a hybrid and it can be a regular car.
And the Camry just looks like a Camry no matter
right.
what, as opposed to the Prius being butt ugly because it's a Prius.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Absolutely. So dedicated hybrids no longer have to look weird. Again, this is one of those things like you can say what you want about Prius. Prius looked the way it looked because it had such a low coefficient of drag, not because Toyota was hell-bent on creating something that would offend car reviewers. and I point this out because, you cannot like the way the Prius looks. That's totally cool. But let's be clear. This isn't a Dodge Charger that the styling is the main point of that. The Prius,
it's not a Ferrari. Yeah.
Right. The Prius styling followed from the function of the vehicle. And if you look at all super efficient vehicles, they all kind of have that same sort of look. Just that way. 2, hybrid cars are way better to drive than they used to be. I don't think they were ever bad, but I definitely agree that this is mostly true.
Right.
They have improved.
They have improved. And
better suspension, better handling. Yep.
Number 3, definitely true. In particular, hybrids are a lot quieter inside. Driving the 4th generation Prius and the Prius Prime, I was blown away by the sound insulation that is much better than it's been in any hybrid I've driven before.
Yeah.
There you go. Real world gas miles still varies with driving styles, speed, and temperature. We spoke to this a little bit just a moment ago, and
my answer to that is no shit, Sherlock. Like, that's on all cars.
Right.
MPGs vary how you drive it. So.
Right, exactly. That's sort of like the old pencil out argument. Like, so the Prius doesn't pencil out, but this F-150 does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a double standard, and that's fine. Plug-in versions of standard hybrids are getting a lot more common. Well, yeah, I guess. I think that's sort of another no shit, Sherlock. And finally, gas is cheap, so you can get a good deal on hybrids these days. I think that's pretty true, although I haven't seen Toyota dumping the huge incentives on Prius that they had in years past when sales were slow. So
not the Prius Prime. I hear people who have them are selling them above list in many cases. So.
Yeah, that's a surprise, isn't it? Oh, those dealers.
Supply and demand, eh?
Always protecting the consumer.
Yeah. Selling the Prime on StubHub.
Yeah, exactly. On Craigslist. 15 miles, only $75,000. Gee, thanks, asshole. So, a nice little thing. It was sort of nice to walk down memory lane of hybrids, but yeah, whatever. You guys have anything else to say about 6 things you should know about hybrids? What is there anything that people should know about hybrids now?
Most of them you don't have to plug in. A lot of consumers still think you have to plug them in the wall. So unless it's specifically a plug-in hybrid, you don't need to plug it in.
Hence the name.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's call it a hybrid classic or something.
Yeah, that's right. It's a hybrid classic. Yes.
Hybrid
Go classic.
Classic. Hybrid standard.
There's the new hybrid, and then there's the classic.
Yeah. Classic one, you just put gas in it.
Yeah. That's it. Just gas, only gas.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk briefly, and you guys may or may not have anything to say here. Of course, you're always welcome to jump in, but one of my things that I've beaten myself up with, and I think I've seen some success with, has been the whole Apple car thing. Back and forth. MIT Technology Review says after looking carefully at the vehicle, or not, they don't have a vehicle, but at the licenses that they've applied for and which engineers are licensed to drive this thing, the people that everyone's hired, they've made the determination that the Apple car program is still in its very early infancy. To which I go, I'm going to quote Paul here, no shit. We still haven't seen a car. They're driving Lexuses, with AI stuff stuck on them or autonomous stuff stuck on them. We still have no idea what they're even making.
Nor do they.
Very possibly. I mean, I thought this was interesting. I tend to read anything on MIT because generally it's good, but this was just sort of we looked and there's not a lot of proof that anything much is going on, and then the project sort of stopped and now it's kind of going again, but it seems like they're starting over almost. And it's maybe like there was never a big project to begin with. They just didn't. I don't know. It's hard to say when you don't know anything. It's hard to make predictions, but I don't see Apple making a car. I'm sorry.
It's difficult.
Unless they buy Tesla.
That would be the obvious choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why wouldn't they just make AI systems for cars and sell them to car companies? Why would you want to get into the car making business?
Because it's the second largest purchase that everybody does.
And the iPhone is the 3rd largest purchase.
Yeah,
there you go. They're moving up the ladder.
Yeah,
that's
an interesting Apple House.
That's an Apple House falls up shortly after.
And we're waiting for the inflatable Apple House to come out. So there it is.
You design it on your iPhone, and boom, it's there.
Boom, they deliver it, you inflate it, you live in it. That's it. Hey, I live in an Apple House. Yay! Hopefully, it works better than iTunes. I will never, ever live in an Apple House, okay? No better recipe to wake up dead than that.
No, it's something that Apple has hundreds, if not thousands, of ongoing projects in their thumb into many, many, many things, and some things that we'll never even know about. They just keep them on their benches and they try them out and they dabble in this and that because they can. Their research budget is incredible.
A shit ton of money to play with stuff.
Yeah,
and they can.
And that's what they do.
Tens of millions of dollars, and it's like pocket change.
It's a rounding error on the books.
Yeah.
So,
and if one of those things hits, boom, they're all rich again.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that's the way they're going to play it until they come up with something that they feel is viable. We won't hear anything about it.
Yeah.
Like they've even bought space at a naval base to test their cars, I understand, and it's under federal security, so no one can get there. You can't even fly over the place. Like they are super secretive, and I expect we will hear nothing until something is ready.
Yeah.
I would be happy hearing nothing until something is ready.
Well, what we just read is basically, is this not just clickbait? Like, really, they had nothing to report on. All it was stating the obvious.
I'm kind of an
I'll
MIT.
believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. In a sense, they're sort of trying to deflate some of this. So I'll give them the debunking. They're allowed to write a debunking article.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, is it clickbait? Sure. Anything with Apple or Tesla or iPhone, is certainly clickbait. Not everything is, but anything could be.
And Apple's really good at PR. I mean, they could be sending out mixed messages on purpose to mess up people.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
So, it is.
That's part of that unlimited budget thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have time, they have money. Not a problem. Well, speaking of time and money, UPS is certainly a large and successful company that operates a lot of motor vehicles to move that are the heart of their business. I mean, besides airplanes, land-based motor vehicles are how they get stuff moved around, whether it's container trucks or local delivery trucks in all shapes and sizes. Hi.
That's the UPS man.
Wow, are you the UPS man? So, sorry, I totally
threw you off.
That totally threw me off. I didn't expect that. Roadshow, which is CNET's car writing arm, reported this week that UPS is now testing fuel cell delivery trucks in Sacramento. And while we've talked a ton, and when I say a ton, I mean a metric shit ton of shit about fuel cell vehicles and hydrogen here, we've also, in my memory, almost always appended at the end that there are scenarios where fuel cells might make sense and could make sense. And that even just ignores the whole where do you get the hydrogen thing from, but just a use scenario that makes more sense in a passenger vehicle. And this is it exactly. This is what we've been talking about. A commercial vehicle that starts its day in a depot and ends its day in a depot.
Fixed route. Yeah.
On a fixed route that is known, that can be ranged or adjusted depending on the fuel. And again, distribution of the fuel isn't the issue. As long as they can get fuel to the depot to fuel these things every day, these vehicles can go out and do it. So, hey, cheers to UPS for this. This is a good test, an interesting test.
But isn't the hydrogen fueling station in LA and they're in Sacramento? So
which means they'll all be stuck.
Semantics, Paul. Semantics.
Drive down I-5 every night to gas up.
Yeah, all these trucks will be stalled in Stockton. They'll never move because there's no hydrogen in Stockton.
And then in the morning, all the wheels will be gone. And
you've been to Stockton.
Yeah.
I can see.
Sorry, any Stockton listeners. But
I'm sorry, we just lost Stockton. There goes the Central Valley. No, I mean, I think this is great, and there's lots of. If you want some numbers, the UPS fuel cell powertrain can store 10 kilograms of hydrogen. There's a 32 kilowatt fuel cell that produces electricity that feeds a 45 kilowatt hour battery that powers the vehicle. The UPS estimates the range of these delivery trucks to be 125 miles.
Yeah, that's probably good for a standard UPS route.
Absolutely it is, and it's going to be not polluting, well, at least in the operating of the cars. Making the hydrogen, another thing, but there's no bad to this test as far as I'm concerned. I'm glad to see this.
Except, how are they getting the hydrogen?
Well,
diesel generator in the backyard.
Yeah.
A boy unicorn and a girl unicorn. And then, Mark, they make hydrogen.
And bingo, you've got yourself a UPS truck fully fueled.
It comes fueled. I don't know. I don't.
It's kind of like the story of the upcoming Olympics, where they've worked hard to get a whole bunch of fuel cell vehicles to ferry around the athletes and officials and such, and then you find out they don't have any hydrogen, so they are shipping it in from who knows where.
No, you're kidding me.
And then they're bringing it into a port and transporting it to the village where they can fuel these vehicles.
I mean, if they could come up with an, conversion machine that took wind power at night when the wind was blowing and cracked water into hydrogen, so it's kind of, it's essentially free, and put the windmill on top of the UPS barn, that'd be awesome. But I have a feeling it's not cost effective to do that.
Well, and let's face it, if this is a test, does it really matter how they get it in the first place? Because all they're doing is testing a theory. Will these trucks run on it? Does it make sense to do it on a route?
Right.
Can it happen in this city? There's a number of things they have to prove right.
Kind of important if you're a fleet manager, and fuel cost.
Yes.
Here's how I see this. For years, I have berated, laughed at, denigrated, been mean to hydrogen supporters. I just have. And they've always said, well, we're going to solve this problem. A solution is just around the corner, sort of like the end of that Iraq war thing. It's just around the corner. Next month, we're going to stop this. And the technology's developed and evolved and improved to the point
I don't think anyone argues that the technology in the vehicle is great.
Right.
The fuel cell is cool. The way the propulsion systems work is great. It's just, where do you get the fuel? How do you distribute the fuel?
I'm willing, in this specific instance, to let the hydrogen people have their run of it and ignore that they're cracking methane to make the hydrogen because it's cheaper and easier, and because some fossil fuel company is partnering, quote unquote, with them to make absolutely ecologically nonsensical hydrogen for these ecologically sensitive vehicles. I'm willing to give them that because, frankly, after a year or two, they're going to shut up and this test is going to stop, and the hydrogen solution, it will still not be apparent, and then we can move on with the things that adults should talk about. Was that too mean?
Like unicorn filling stations for passenger vehicles.
When a mommy unicorn and a daddy unicorn love each other a lot more. Just keep that phrase in your head. That may be the title of the show.
There's another title. Boom.
Mommy and daddy unicorn. If I write these things down, I remember them. Mark, I understand you have some news for us.
Well, I did have some news last week, but this week I'm just very pleased about the purchase I made. So I've got a Gen 2 Volt that I've been driving now for about 12 days.
And is that the one that runs on hydrogen?
Yeah, I'm importing hydrogen from Japan. It takes some time, but it's good hydrogen. But It's no, there's no hydrogen model, but I've been having a great time zipping around and learning the what this car can handle. And I'll just share this picture that I've got here of my dash as I was driving it the other day. Now, again, this is in metric. Sorry, I don't have the American conversion with you. I know it's blinding everyone on your end.
I was going to say, it may as well be in hieroglyphics, for God's sakes.
But we've got 112 kilometers that the car charged on a full charge, roughly, which is
So what's that in American?
In American, you're looking at
85 miles.
No, less than that.
Think
about 75, 78, maybe somewhere in that area.
Yeah,
70.
Okay, 70.
I was an art major.
The car says 53 is what they claim. So they claim a 53 mile range.
So
I got 70.
Wow. That's
Wow.
under promising and over delivering.
And that's what they did with the last Volt, and that's what they've done with this one.
That's great.
I think that
0 liters of fuel.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, the car was shipped to me about 300 kilometers away. Again, with the kilometers, Mark, have you lost your mind? But what? It's a conversion show. Yes, that's all we're doing today.
Isn't there a button on the touchscreen to change it to American?
It would be, but I am driving in Canada. To my defense, it's difficult. But what we're finding is that I had to have it driven to me, so it used some fuel to get here, obviously. But since the point that I've had it, I'm getting close to over 1,000 miles, and I haven't burnt a drop of fuel yet.
Wow,
sweet.
So I have no issues with I'm not going to burn any fuel in this thing. Like the only thing that I would burn fuel on is if I was to travel, outside of the range of the car, which is even larger than it was before. So it's excellent. And the other thing I wanted to show is a new screen that they have rolled into the 2nd gen Volt, and it talks about your efficiency. So it gives you an idea as to how you're doing with the things you can control and the things that you can't control. So you've got a technique, a terrain that obviously you can't change the terrain, but your climate settings in the car, and of course the outside temperature you can't change. So 2 out of the 4 you can, and 2 of the 4 you cannot. But
I thought you were going to say it gives you like real-time hockey updates being in Canada.
Well, that's normal, but that happens in every car, Paul. So, but what was cool is that it gives you an overall score and kind of lets you know where you are, and makes it a bit of a game. So it's kind of neat.
So technique, that's you like sort of semi-hypermiling, getting high speed.
Yeah, exactly. Gliding when you can, slowing down, respectable, taking off at a respectable, acceleration, things like that. So
that's cool.
It's very interesting.
It's too bad every car doesn't have something like that to show drivers how more efficient they'd be.
My belief, Paul, is that they don't want you to know.
Right.
They don't want you to be counting the gallons that you're using or what happened.
MPG.
Yeah. What's blown out the back tail, but they don't want you to know that stuff. Yeah. And I think that's exactly why they don't.
Yeah, I had one of the early Jeep Liberties, and it had like an ongoing, like, your MPG right now is. And even that was clearly like, how do I say it, averaged? You know what I mean? Like, you could jump on the gas and it would be like, you just go down a couple MPG. It wouldn't go to like 4.
I remember years ago, the first time I rode in like a Yukon hybrid or Tahoe hybrid, whatever it was. And I asked the driver, I said, where's the screen that shows you your MPGs like a Prius? They go, oh, it doesn't have one. And then later I learned it doesn't have one because the regular Tahoe gets like 12 MPG and the Tahoe hybrid gets 14. So it's not really impressive enough to show you that.
Yeah, like can you imagine if they were like the EVs, and if you step on the EV, it'll show that your mileage actually drops. Like it'll show the amount disappear. Like that would freak people out in a Tahoe. Going, how much money?
It's like when you step on the gas, you kind of have that feedback. The gas gauge goes from full to 3/4.
Like, you just spent $3.
Yeah, you left that light, and that was $5.
Right. That's what it should say. Thank you for supporting OPEC. We appreciate you.
Oh, man. Yep.
But I'm just curious, Mark. So what's the biggest performance difference? I mean, besides the range, are you seeing any other big differences between Gen 1 and Gen 2?
Yeah, it's the takeoff and mid-range are more peppy. So even though my first gen wasn't a slouch, this one beats it hands down. And I believe it's because in this car, they incorporated 2 electric motors into the same casing with some sort of planetary gear set, and allows the motor to be more efficient.
I think the Prius patent expired around the time this came out.
No, this gets 53, Paul, not 22.
No. I mean, that's the battery size. But I mean, the dual electric motor planetary gear set electric transmission, that's kind of been in Prius hybrid synergy drive since like 1998.
So they always had the dual electric drive in the same casing.
Yep.
MG1, MG2, baby.
So let's see, 1998. What's 17 years?
It's only 19 years.
Right. Well, patents are 17 years. So I'm sure it's related to the Toyota patents expiring.
That's interesting. I didn't know that, Paul.
If that is the case, I applaud them because it made a difference.
Yeah. No, it's a great engineer. If you look at it from an engineering point of view, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's very simple too. So it's
the other thing that's an improvement, I would say, is certainly the UI, the interface in the car has made dramatic increases in refinement. It looks a lot better. Looking at my old one,
a real volume control knob.
It has a real knob. Yes, right. So it's really made a difference. The old one looks almost kiddish now compared to the refinements made in the UI. So they made a great leap forward. And the other thing, the big thing, okay, 2 things. The steering wheel has a heat function, which is fabulous. You've got heated steering wheel. And the other thing is that it's got a brake regen pedal on the steering wheel. So on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, on the side, there is a paddle on the other side of the steering wheel that you squeeze, and it slows the car down with regenerative braking only, adds the extra energy into the battery, giving you more range.
Does it light up the brake light?
It does.
When you pull it? Cool. That's a great idea.
Brake pedal on the steering wheel. I love that.
It's like a shifter, except it's not shifting. You're braking.
It's a paddle braker.
Yeah. And I find that I used to use low gear to slow me down when I was coming up to a light, because I knew and that would throw it into maximum regen and collect as much energy as I could as I was stopping. But now with this paddle, it's even more fun because it's instant and it's just really at your fingertips, and you just squeeze it. It slows the car down at a light, or if you see traffic slowing down. And of course, the tail light comes on to let people know in the back that you are braking. So it's fabulous.
That's a great idea.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Very cool.
Gold star for Chevy.
Yeah. Hey, first generations are hard. Second generations usually better, right? I mean,
usually. Yep.
Yeah. Hello, Hyundai.
But even the first gen Volt was a surprisingly good car.
Absolutely. So. Yes. I take nothing away from first gen.
I trashed it until I saw one in real life, and then gave it more respect and liked it more once I saw Volts over 100,000 miles, and
that's right. Yeah.
Taking along just like a Toyota. So.
Mm-hmm.
And just recently, one went over 300,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. No, they're a well-built car.
Yeah.
So we're just hoping that the Gen 2 is the same thing. But certainly Gen 1 has performed that way, so we're hoping.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary No, screw that.
Gen 2 had nothing to do with Maximum Bob, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got nothing. I got nothing. Bob and I had an argument the other day.
And that was it. You're just going to drop it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just going to drop it.
You're off his Christmas card list.
Let's just say the next time we meet, only one of us is going to walk away. Okay?
Steel cage match.
Yep. And Bob's bringing a fighter jet to the fight versus Bob in an F-16.
Now, isn't he bringing a hybrid pickup truck or something? Isn't he?
He's not doing anything. He's 900 years old. And his brilliant idea that he regrets never following through is the 12-cylinder Cadillac. So, yeah, no, he was briefly involved in that, and that company went the same place that most of the other companies he's consulted for went.
Yeah.
You've heard of him, right? Oh, no. Wait, no, I can finally use
Where's
this.
the noise? There we go. We knew it was coming at some point.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Played your theme song for you. Well, gentlemen, I think that wraps up a fine week of news. Mark, congratulations on the new Volt.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And you don't want to give me your old Volt, do you?
Anytime you guys are in the neighborhood, feel free to come over. I'll give you a ride.
You don't want it, Russell. All the dash things are in Canadian.
Oh, it would frustrate me, and I'd always want Timbits every time I got in the damn thing.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
oh, yes. A Timbits joke. The night is not complete.
Exactly. I've had donuts on my brain all day thanks to Facebook. Thank you, friends on Facebook. Yeah, Timbits. Timbits. Okay. That's our show. Let's do some shout outs and go home. I'm going to start with Mr. Gen 2 and Gen 1 Volt, Mark Coughlin.
Just say hello to the Waterloo Regional Volt Tech Group, and everyone have yourself a good night. Thanks for joining us.
Yay. Well, thank you, Mark. Paul.
So I have a unique shout out this week. I have a shout out to Colorado State Senator Matt Jones.
Oh.
A few weeks ago, I mentioned, maybe a couple months ago, that there was a Senate bill floating around Colorado to kill the EV tax credits, sponsored by people behind the Koch brothers, surprisingly. Anyway, I wrote to the senator along with, I'm sure, many other people in Colorado, and he wrote back and said, hey, I just want to let you know I voted against the bill. However, the bill was postponed because of other more important issues, but effectively killing the bill. So that does mean the Colorado EV rebates will still be in place at least all of this year and at least all of next year, where had the bill been passed, they would have evaporated at the end of 2017. So
excellent. Excellent.
Good to see our politicians are working for us.
Nice.
So people in Colorado are still going to get $5,000 off anything with a plug, including the Chevy Volt, the Prius Prime, a Nissan Leaf, et cetera, et cetera. So,
you sure I can't come there and buy a motorcycle?
Well, it has to be a car. So
does it?
So sorry, anything with four wheels and a plug.
Bastards.
That's licensed as a road capable car, not a neighborhood EV.
If I put training wheels on a Zero, would that count?
The DMV calls it a car, you get your money. But
I'm screwed. Okay.
And then those are new cars, right, Paul?
Yes, it has to be a new car. Previously, we had rebates on used EVs, but those did go away at the end of 2016. So
still very
a good thing to move to Colorado. And I'll also give a quick plug to my business, Boulder Hybrids. Our website is boulderhc.com, and we work on all kinds of EVs, even ones like Coda, which we can't figure out because there's no support. But and of course all the hybrid cars out there. And I will say,
classic and new.
Yep, and I've worked on Volts with over 100,000 miles, and they are surprisingly tight and built well and surprisingly good. So don't be scared of buying a Chevy.
Right on. There we go. A little plug for Chevy. That doesn't hurt.
Yep.
Even though they won't advertise, but nobody does. So, as always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our theme music. You can visit him at manthing.com. And please do buy his stuff on iTunes, CD Baby, whatever. Listen to him on Spotify if you like. But thank you, Michael, for that. Of course, you can visit us at whatdrives.us, our main website. You can download or stream the shows in video or audio format there, as well as read all of our exciting articles that people like Tony Schaefer have obsessively written about hypermiling and all sorts of other things that honestly, my eyes just glaze over. But it's wonderful. It's well written. So whatdrives.us, our main site. And what I like to think of as sort of our fun vacation home, the place where we spend most of our time, which I guess doesn't make it a vacation home. It more makes it sort of the main home. But it's a fun place. That's facebook.com/whatdrivesus. You can go to the Facebook page. And again, there, like it, suggest it to your friends, share our articles, talk with us. We get our news from there. We chat with people. We argue with people on the show. It's a good thing. And we would love to have you there. That's facebook.com/whatdrivesus. A plug for my missing co-host, Annie Cooper. If you have a Prius and you need accessories, go to the Prius Chat shop. That's at priuschat.com/shop for all your Prius accessory needs. I think that covers all the plugs. I did it all by myself without a script. I feel like I deserve a treat, and I'm going to end this show and go have that treat. So, Paul Guzik, thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Really love you coordinated like the color, the white balance of the camera with the lower third. It's amazing. Yeah. It's like themed. Mark, thank you so much. I mean, if I was you, I'd be out driving the brand new Volt.
I gotta go.
Touche, sir. Touche, sir.
I'm gonna play with the paddle brake next time I drive one.
There you go. Yeah, it's fun.
I gotta go.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
I have to go see if one of the local dealers has that yet. Hey,
in Florida.
I'm sorry. I make joke.
They'll have Tahoes and Yukons or whatever.
And Denali's, yeah,
Denali.
with cold weather packages.
Yeah,
can't figure that one out. And of course, thanks to all of you for watching, listening, whatever it is. If you were listening, you couldn't see me pointing at the camera, but I was. So thanks very much. We do this stuff for you. Download us next weekend. Find out what drives us. Oh, don't cue the music.